Yes, no, maybe. Dang, you folks are fast. That's you guys are amazing. Look at that. I put the new stream up and I already got people finding me. I just have one question. Can you hear me? So I'll wait until people I just need a yes, no, some feedback about the sound. Thank you, Debbie. Let's go ahead and let's talk about food while everybody is finding this stream because let's face facts, food is my favorite topic. All right, Debbie, what you eating? What about you, Garden? Come on now, give me something. Y'all know I have my morning smoothie. I give you something. Banana, peanut butter powder, Garden of Life, protein and greens because the shop didn't have the protein and greens by Paradise. I put some hemp in it. I put some flax. And now, and now you have to tell me what you're eating. And extra points if it's vegan and plant-based and humane and taste. Ooh, salsa and hummus. Joel Tilson wins. New York vegans with vegan cream cheese. There's my girl. Yes, so I wanted to give another shout out to those vegan guys. And I'm also sponsoring about 5 people a week to become members of those vegan guys. Veganism is a three-tier. It's a three-tier stool, and together we can save the world. Number one, it's great for you. All the research shows that if it's done properly, it'll extend your life. It'll get you hopefully to where you're heart attack proof, which is what we really want to see as healthcare providers, right? So it's good for you. And number two, it's great for the environment. Think about all the that methane gas that's not going to be produced. So we have the environmental benefits of veganism. And then number three, of course, the most important part for many of us is that the animals are not going to be tortured. They get to be our friends. They get to hang out and eat grass with us. They get their grass. I get my greens. Everybody's cool. I would rather be a pig's friend than eat a pig, to be honest with you. So that's just how I roll. So anyway, maybe they'll show up later. Sometimes they come in on Sundays and say hi to us. But Paul and Jason, special shout out to you. I did have a little bit of animal products when I was in Portugal. Full disclosure, I had a little dairy and I had a little fish. But for the most part, the transition I've done over the last 6 weeks has been, I would say, and when I got back was 100% vegan. I just really this was the first time I succeeded. I started vegan support group on Facebook like 10 years ago and failed and gave the group to somebody else. Um, and I realized that what I was doing wrong is I was trying to be too much of a purist. And I think that what I like about TVG is that they have an organic garden, they have organic whole foods, but if it's okay to have a burger, it's okay to, go out and have a little fun. And I think that what sometimes happens with people in general is we try to be too extreme, and I think that balance is really the key. But yeah, the main thing I feel as a whole foods vegan, mostly whole foods, though I did I bought today, I got some spring rolls, I'll bake them, not fry them. So I have little naughty things like that. I have Beyond Beef burgers, meatballs when I wanna have some meatballs. But to be honest with you, I find that it doesn't really it's not much. I don't crave it very often, but if I feel my protein is down and I really want a burger, I really want a bratwurst, my body will tell me like, "Hey, I'm craving some protein," and I'll cook me up one of those vegan bratwurst and It tastes the same, it's like 20 grams of protein, and you feel it. I mean, when you take it in, so it's been working for me. It really revved up my metabolism. I think you can all see that I have a little bit of this, but I'm no longer overweight. I mean, I'm now so, yeah, the Beyond Beef, bratwurst is delicious. So that's what I've been up to, and, yeah. Of course, not everybody wants to be 100%, so I always tell people, "See if you can get to 80/20." I mean, like, the golden thing for most people is 80/20, where 80% of their meals are plant-based. They'll have 80% of their meals are completely vegan, and then 20% of their meals have an animal product in the meal. And most people can do 80/20, and so I'll usually start my patients off at 80/20, where they'll do breakfast is easy to do vegan. You can just do a protein shake, you knock that out. A light dinner, hummus, vegan soup, like a lentil soup or something, it's easy to knock out, and then for lunch, they'll have, like, 6 ounces of an animal product, and so they're only getting 6 ounces of chicken or a cheese sandwich or something like that, and most people can do that. Most people can, do very well where, 2/3 of their meals are vegan. And anybody can do that. Like, even if you're type O blood type and your doctor is like, "Increase your protein," most people, if they have 1 animal protein meal a day, that's enough, and they can be vegan. Yeah. Alright, so I think I just wanted to just kibitz a little bit because people had to find the stream, so we can go ahead and get started. So, people had asked if I would give an opinion about what happened in Korea, because as many of you know, in Seoul, there was a terrible accident with some of the young people partying. I think it was something like a terrible tragedy, 150 people. Yeah. So, would I just talk a little bit about what I think might have happened? I think this is one of those things where healthcare providers are certainly gonna be doing a differential diagnosis when you have that many people having a cardiac event all at once, and also the crowd control issue. So the first, thing I think a lot of doctors are gonna look at is a toxicology. Were they dosed, right? That's gonna be the first thing on the list. Say, for example, you go into a rave club, everybody gets a free shot. If it has ephedra or something like that, if were they dosed? So there'll be a toxicology for sure. The second thing on the list would be a terrorist attack. Were people intentionally killed? Was it a situation like that? And of course, that's something else that they'll be looking at. And finally, the third, which is the theory that I have, and that is asphyxiation due to overcrowding. And that can happen when you don't have crowd control in certain areas, and if people keep coming into a restricted area and you don't have ventilation, you only have ventilation from outside and people are going in, what can happen, this is one of the threats of overcrowding, is that the oxygen levels plummet very, very rapidly, and so people can't breathe. And this has smaller versions of that have happened in dance clubs before. You just go in and you assume there's gonna be enough oxygen for everybody, but if everybody's dancing and moving and are active and the number of people breathing is increasing, what will happen in some of these clubs is that the CO2 levels increase and the carbon monoxide increases and your oxygen decreases. And so that could theoretically, if you had a rapid enough drop in oxygen because of overcrowding, it could induce a cardiac arrest. And so that's probably what we're looking at, is probably asphyxiation. And then also when people tried to get away from it, you had the crowding. So I'm going with the third theory just because of how I felt as a remote viewer when I went in. I felt I was being pushed into an area where there was no out, and I felt the oxygen levels drop like immediately because we were all breathing, but there was no oxygen, and then people started collapsing from the lack of oxygen, and then that is how it felt to me as a healthcare as a remote viewer. So, I just felt like it was a blind sack, and I couldn't get out, and I couldn't breathe. Alright, so people had asked me also if I could do a remote view of Paul Pelosi. Absolutely. So, in terms of injuries, how it felt to me is it felt to me like the attacker who hit me was right-handed, and when I was struck with the right hand in this area, which injured my orbital bone. For those of you who are healthcare providers, you know that the orbital bone is sutured, like it's a couple of bones coming together. And we also know that the bones of the orbital area are very vulnerable. They're thin. And so he hit me here with his right hand, which cracked the upper part of my orbital bone. And that's a terrible place to be hit because first off, they're gonna try and save the eye. If they probably got cracked or fragments of the orbital, they can go in, they can repair. We can also we can put fake bone pieces in also. But you also wanna avoid swelling. But you're also feeling when you got an injury, you need to monitor. If you can keep the swelling down, when the swelling goes down, a second operation, once the swelling goes down, is to repair and put a new orbital ridge in. So that is what I believe happened to Paul Pelosi. And so if they can keep the pressure down and keep the area open, he should not sustain we don't want injury to the frontal cortex, to that area, and the prefront. That can impact, particularly on the left side, it can have an impact on all kinds of things, cognition, impulse control, etcetera. So, he was frustrated, the attacker, no he didn't understand the questions, and he just struck. Um Do I think that he'll be okay? It looks to me like it was clean, the surgery. It looks like they were able to keep the swelling down, but, that eye, imagine an eye dangling when you have to remove the point is it shouldn't have happened, and, yeah, so that's what I saw for his attack. Something that never had to happen, but the Republicans and unfortunately their news has, Newsmax, these types of hate news rags want this to happen. They're hoping that a certain segment of the population is crazy enough to do it. That's what it seems like. All right, the next remote view I want to talk to people about has to do with the midterms and concerns people have about the midterms. Um, I don't think that we need to be quite as freaked out as people think, for a number of reasons. For starters, the global economy is moving green, so the Republicans can scream and rant and rave and have all the temper tantrums they like, but it won't save them. So even if Republicans were to get into Congress, I don't think they're gonna take the Senate. None of their bills would pass, it would be thrown out by the Senate. And the other problem is that they're gonna have to go across the aisle because the only economy left after February is the green economy. We prepped people for it. We prepped people for the decline. We I was prepping you guys, but it's a good thing. So the steer and oil industry goes down. China's economy is collapsing in the next 3.5 months. Interest rates continue to rise in the housing market, which will stabilize also by February. We've seen a 10% drop in the price of houses. I had predicted 20 to 25% drop by February. I think it'll actually be higher now because we had anticipated, according to Market Watch CNBC, they thought it would be a 4% drop. It was a 10% drop. I think also we're going to start finding out just how much China bailed out the United States housing market. I've talked about that in the past. So if you have underwriters investing in companies like Zillow, Remax, etc., and those underwriters are companies with foreign ties to, say, China, and they need cash now, you guessed it, they're going to do what they did in the 80s, and they're going to start divesting from their foreign real estate. And again, that's going to have an impact on housing. And it also brings up the conversation, were they manipulating prices in the US? Are home prices being inflated? Are foreign governments investing in American real estate, inflating housing? And we can certainly check on that. But we definitely see from the months of October to February of 2023 a steady dip, and then the Fed stop picking on us with interest rates, and things kind of stabilize around February. It's very overpriced, and there's foreign money also, which has been propping it up. We would not be paying these prices for housing if we didn't have foreign investing. That's basically what the remotes show. I also wanted to say regarding China, as we had talked about, the old guard that was in opposition to Xi had felt that Xi had taken bribes and that there was a purging that was going to take place. Y'all remember when we talked about this, and we talked about the fact that Xi Jinping was taking central control, and that Hu and his opposition were claiming he took bribes. We talked about how the opposition thought he was taking bribes, accused him of being CIA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody thought it was crazy. Then who was running an investigation based on the remotes, which also included finding for bank accounts and bribes. He found some stuff. And a couple of weeks after that remote, he was unceremoniously removed from Xi Jinping's from the ceremony where he became, like, I guess, centralized his power. The other thing that came out was that Hu's predecessor, who was to the right of Xi Jinping, was also removed later. So both of them were purged, both Hu and his predecessor. So do I think that that's going to bode well for the future of China? No, I've always said that China collapses. If you try to look, they're desperate, so they try to centralize their power even more. That's not going to work. And I think it's very obvious to people that are in China that they're moving towards civil war. That, same thing is happening with Russia's economy right now. It was terrible what they did to Hu. It's like the Youth and Beauty Brigade. You've got the old guard, which is Xi, and then you've got the Free Youth and Beauty Brigade. These are the free-thinking hippie. We are the world. We are the children, right? That's the opposition party, right? They're both communist, but one is more liberal. So Hu was part of all of that, and now he's gone bye-bye. No more youth and beauty brigades, right? No more of this creative, free-flowing. We encourage artistic creativity in the revolution. Yeah, well, that's all gone now. But you can't centralize power like that. No, of course she didn't look at him, and he didn't look to the guy on his right who would be taken out a day or two later. So not good, right? Not good. Okay, so the main thing I would say about the midterms is don't worry, get everybody out to vote, reach out to everybody, especially in rural areas. Don't be scared because in the end, people are voting with their pocketbooks, and we don't want the old economy. And so they can either join us or go under. The difference between liberals and conservatives, liberals create the oasis and conservatives take the oasis away. And this has been the story throughout time. The liberals and the artists were the ones that kept the oasis. They took care, they were the water protectors, right? They protected the water. They opened the oasis up to everyone. Come drink. Even historically, the LGBTQ community, anybody could come to the oasis and be accepted. But then what happens? The warmongers come, they enslave the people. Slavery comes to North Africa, and they take control of the oasis. So some version, Michaela, Antoinette, Claudette, Michaela. All right, do what you want. So that's some version of that plays itself out over and over and over again. For example, when liberals moved to Palestine, they were going to build an oasis, the kibbutz, and they started bringing in the Turks and the Palestinians and Muslims from Iraq and Jewish people. And together we were going to build this beautiful Palestine, and it was under Turkish control. And people were all getting along and kumbaya, and they created a great society in the kibbutz. And then what happened? The conservatives showed up because they had created an oasis. They were creating an oasis. Michaela, I want you down. Michaela, down. So that's kind of what happened. Also, some version of that in Israel, where people were coming together, and it was Turkey that owned Palestine, and everybody was just going to try and make it work. And then the conservatives came in with hegemony because we were having a great time, right? The Bernie Sanders ancestors were there, right? Democratic socialism, everybody equal. And then once we created the oasis and the system, and everybody is a comrade, and we're all going to make love and create an oasis in Palestine, what happens? Conservatives come in, took control of everything, steal it. We build it, they steal it. So it would be nice if we could figure out a way to build an oasis, to build it and not have it keep getting stolen. Wouldn't that be great? All right. Inflation, like I said, that's probably we're going to see things stabilize by February. My opinion about the war in the Ukraine, I feel like Russia is bankrupted. Zelensky thinks it'll be over by end of November. Probably. I think so. I think Zelensky's right. I don't think the Russians can salvage it at this point. They're trying to come in from the east. I was looking at some stuff, and when I put myself in the shoes of Russia in Ukraine on the Eastern Front, they are inching forward from the Eastern Front. I have infinite faith, though, in the general on that eastern side, but it looked like I couldn't get through because of resistance from Ukraine as a Russian, but I found a way in through the southeast corridor coming in on that eastern side. They're slipping in that way. So we're still energetically, it still feels like Ukraine is vulnerable on the east side. But man, did they really they took so much ground. That Northwest Brigade that I was telling you guys about that was going to go in and take Kherson, man, they went so fast. All those soldiers, those Russian soldiers, when they went right into that valley and all surrendered. Crazy. All right, so I think that's all my remote views. Don't worry about midterms. It won't, in the long term, I mean, the biggest threat we have is the Supreme Court. That is the biggest threat to our democracy at this point. Yeah, the drone attacks. It always seems to end the same way. Last night when I was Putin and I was rambling on to my advisors, one by one, my advisors shut me off like the TV, got up and walked out of the room. There is a feeling as the advisors to Putin that this guy is unteachable, and every other day it's another stupid idea. And the point we've gotten to a point in Russia, this is what you feel, that they literally don't believe his crap anymore. So this is a guy who used to command, "I'm the great leader," and now how I feel as one of Putin's former cronies is that I d I'm not even threatened. We are openly getting up and walking out, which leads me to think that Putin's probably, gonna lose his power, and it's a very humble ending for Russia most likely, which is that Putin's power, diminishes and, um, it's a very unceremonious retreat from Ukraine. That's the most likely outcome. Yeah. But at this point, like, when I went in last night, I didn't as one of his former followers, which is the position I was in, I can't even listen to him anymore. I just found myself just openly defying it. "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to me? Nobody's left. The economy is in shambles." I mean, it's at a point where we don't care anymore. That's a very dangerous point for Putin to be in, where people are openly defying him, his leadership, and they don't care anymore, and it's really started to get like that. I don't think he can recover. Sharon, just DNA testing and whatnot, but, I don't see this lasting beyond a couple months, if that. Oh, Harry the Spare's book is coming out. Yeah, good for him. Well, let's go ahead, let's do would you guys like to get a reading? Empath's prayer and do some blitzes? Yeah, would you enjoy that? Empath's prayer, we'll do the community reading for everybody. Okay, so the empath's prayer is starting at 27 minutes and 20 seconds. Does that work for you guys? Okay, so we're gonna do the community prayer and then we'll do blitz, blitz, blitz away. Does that work for you guys? Awesome. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. All right, let's do it. What lies in your future, my dear? We shall see. What does Spirit want you all to know? Where you're at right now, this is a time when a lot of people are emotionally vulnerable. I think that we have gone through a lot of raw trauma. I'm gonna take these off because they're bothering me. Um, I think we have all gone through a lot of raw trauma, particularly the last couple of years. First off, it's been unbelievably stressful, right? It's been unbelievably stressful because we've had crazy things going on politically, the war, COVID. When you think about it just collectively, we've all gone through a lot of crap, right? It's also put a tremendous amount of stress on our hearts, our blood pressure, our adrenals. You can see here the base of the matter is we're just heartbroken. People we couldn't save. You think about the family members you love and you worry about them, but I can't help them. It's that torn apart kind of a feeling. It's when you love too much, right? It's the empath's hell. We love too much. We care too much, and we keep getting pulled in to situations which rip us apart. And the most difficult thing for an empath to do is to just cut it off because it's not part of our nature. We're empaths. We feel everybody's pain. But there comes a point when you've got to save yourself. There's a way to help others without putting your life at risk. And that's the lesson for you right now. You must take control of your own life. And there are ways you can help without having your heart turn into chopped liver, right? This is not the only way that you can help. And that is the spiritual lesson for you right now. There are ways that you can truly help the people that you care about without your heart being the price you pay. And you can see the karma coming in for you is the Queen of Pentacles, the hidden queen, the dark queen of mystery. She keeps the secrets and she's also a little selfish. She got the money, honey. She take it for herself because if you are in your right mind, you're going to know how to handle. You must be the one that has control over your money. You must take control of your money. You must be 100% responsible for your life. You cannot let the crazies be in control. You must be in control. The best thing that you can do for the people that are driving you nuts is that you must take control of your money over your life, and you must have boundaries, and you must be the keeper of secrets. They don't need to know what's going on in your life. That is the best thing, girl, bro. Be like the Queen of Pentacles. You don't need to know how much money's in my bank account. The only person that needs to know how much money's in your bank account is you. Learn to pull back financially, learn to have boundaries. Don't let people who have historically proven that they are a threat to your emotional and mental safety be there continuing to harm you. Again, this is a very clear message from Spirit. The best thing that you can do right now is take control of your situation, take control over your finances. Do not share information about your finances with other people. Have boundaries with the people you love. If you want to be like me and give 10% to charity, that's a great way to help the poor. But it doesn't have to impact your mental and physical health. Make sense? Where you're at right now, angry. There's a lot of people who are angry. There's a lot of rage coming up. Injustice, bad people doing bad things. This is a bloody psychotic energy too. Also, we have crazy people running around. Look what happened to poor Paul Pelosi, right? So we have this crazy, violent, psychotic energy running around. This is also the end of October where we're really vulnerable, right? We've talked a lot about energetically, astrologically. This is a time when I'll be so happy when October's gone because of this energy that we have been dealing with. And other readers have been picking up on it too. And what the crossing card is, be love, be in love. It's okay to say no. The world doesn't own you. It's your body, it's your soul, it's your responsibility. What happens when you pull back? 10 of Cups. Want a happy family? Have boundaries. What is above you How can you consolidate your power, your finances, take care of your health, take care of your heart issues, your stress issues for you so that you can be functional enough to actually do something positive for yourself and other people? 3 of Wands, you're going to get your wish within 3 months. So you're moving in a positive direction when you consolidate your energy, take control over your finances, see life clearly, keep secrets. Nobody has a right to have access to your social security. Watch catfishing, right? It's all about pulling back from that. What you're sitting in, death and transformation, you're learning how to keep secrets. You're learning how to pull back from the world doesn't need to know everything about you. You're also coming away from energies that can be pushy. You know, I'm an Aries. I get it. I lived in Israel. Israel is an Aries country, by the way. I don't, it's not, it wasn't created. I think it's Taurus, but it has a lot of Aries, like Moshe Dayan was an Aries. It's very aggressive, in your face, Mars. And I think it really affected me personally living there. But you have this nice death energy coming in the third house, coming out of a strong, aggressive kind of Aries male. And now instead you're headed towards quiet, peace, holiday. You know, this is the time of meditation, pulling your energy back. You don't have to engage. You don't have to win every argument. Okay. Take care of yourself, you know, but I don't need to engage in that. So you're leaving the time of the King of Wands and you're entering into a time of more like pulling back, Queen of Pentacles, a little bit more secretive, a little bit more in control of my life and my finances, a little bit less out there in terms of my heart being on my sleeve. You increase with boundaries, your compassion increases. You can't have your life be chaos. You can't have other people pulling you around like you're a rag doll. It's not going to help you and it's not going to help them. It's very important to hear that. You're entering into the time of the King of Cups. You get your mind back, and that makes you the great mediator because you have boundaries. That's a good therapist, right? When patients get transference, this will happen to me as a doctor. You know, you want to learn boundaries, go to medical school, right? We always talk a lot about the importance of boundaries with patients, right? So the best way we can help our patient is understanding our role, right, in the relationship. And the same goes with people who may be clingy or there's boundary issues. The King of Cups is the great mediator. So this is a time when first off, you step back, but you can also help heal rifts from a healthy distance. The other in relationship with you, theft, exploitation, not taking responsibility for their behavior. And so if somebody is coming to you with that attitude, there is no relationship. You cannot have a relationship with someone that does not come to the plate ready to do the work. The other in relationship with you is a thief. Running away, doesn't want to pay their bills, doesn't want to take personal responsibility. It's all your fault. You're sick. I'm healthy. You know, that kind of thief. They steal, they gaslight, they run away from personal responsibility. That's not a relationship. That's you trying to be the great healer, and they are running the other way. No personal accountability, which is what causes the heartbreak. The heartbreak isn't because you didn't do enough. It's because the other persons that you're having a conflict with aren't doing enough. And this can also be true in your place of work. It's not just family. It's your coworkers. It's your boss. It's the people that you're interacting with that expect you to be 110% loyal and responsible while they're off doing whatever the hell they like. So your hope and your fear right now is the Knight of Pentacles, which is to stop and survey the situation before you wind up pulled into it, which is the Knight of Pentacles. Just stop, gap, stop, gap, stop. You need to stop, pull back. And then your final outcome, Two of Pentacles. Again, the con artist, the money here, the money there, the money here, the money. You got to get control of your money, girlfriend, boyfriend. You got to get control. Girlfriend, boyfriend, they friend. Control of the money. You must cut ties even if you think that you've already lost and you can't get the money back. You're going to lose some stuff. When you're gone and when you establish boundaries, what happens to the other? They become all nice and sweet because the bank of Jane is closed. Hopes and fears. The Tower, 9 of Wands, to be trapped. Be careful about your relationships with others. This is a very clear message to you that boundaries, particularly financial boundaries, are very, very important right now. And also healthy, appropriate boundaries with family and in the workplace. They're not telling you to be violent and angry. They're just telling you to pull back and be more reserved, like the Queen of Pentacles, and to take control over the situation a little bit. And that, I have no idea what's going on with y'all, but it did not. It's good for you because you have learned that you don't have to save the world. Taking care of yourself and your boundaries is the best thing you can do if you're talking about saving the world. And so it's just a different way for us as empaths to think, because we don't think like that. We just think, oh, you need a heart? Here, take mine. And it's just not working. Yeah. All right. I hope I helped. Wow, that's a powerful lesson for me too, because I do that. I sometimes will just, here you go, here. And then people think, well, Whimsy is good. Well, you can just go to Whimsy. And then in the end, who winds up in trouble? Whimsy. And then it's not reciprocal. You see what I'm saying? So, well, sometimes it is. It depends on your relationships, right? But what they're just saying here is to be mindful in all your relationships of, is this a relationship that's reciprocal or is it exploitive? And if so, it's time to pull back, reassess those relationships, because it's not good for you and it's not good for the other person. It's not a healthy dynamic for either of you, and usually winds up with both individuals becoming broke. Two of Pentacles is a Loki card. I associate it with Loki or Legba or chaos, trickster, and juggling coin. Not good. So because of how the cards are falling, I think it's just a spiritual lesson for all of us right now. Yeah. Okay, so on that note, we are just going to wait to get the order. And then we will blitz away. That was a wild reading. Did you guys see those cards? Yeah, I mean, it's all about what's going to be good for everybody. And if we're just getting picked at, you know, it's not good for anybody. Okay, so whenever you guys have your questions and we get the order to blitz away, it looks like we're getting the order. Okay, so people want to know if MTG, we'll just do a throw on Marjorie Taylor Greene's future. And if I don't think she had anything to do with it, but let's take a look. What's going on with the future of Marjorie Taylor Greene? We are blitzing away. And thank you everyone who's donating to the charity. Today we're playing for the United Nations Hunger Relief Program. And our donations are being matched by Google. My life's a mess as Marjorie Taylor Greene. I just feel like this is a bad time for her to be running. I just feel as Marjorie Taylor Greene, like everything that could be going wrong is going wrong. Where I'm at right now is 9 of Wands. So I just feel like my love life sucks. My business sucks. I'm being attacked from multiple. This is a jail card. There's something here about female power, the 3 of Cups coming in. This is a women's power card. So, that's gonna be interesting to see how that plays in. Oh, there's an investigation right over Marjorie Taylor Greene. Uh, she is seen as the fool in the cards. She is facing economic hardship and poverty. She is the Queen of Wands, unfortunately, and we all know the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is feisty, angry, determined, and seeks justice. Unfortunately, yeah, it even looks a little bit like this is the problem with the Queen of Wands. We want it our way, and we want it now, and I want it covered in chocolate. Thank you very much. Vegan chocolate. So she is in that stomp your feet, stubborn, my way, boom, boom. The low energy field of a Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo. Look at me. Look at me. Aren't I pretty? Look at me. Look at me. Aren't I pretty? Look at me. Right. And my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. Look at me. Aren't I pretty? So those are, they say, the low energies of the Leo, and it is an aspect of the African goddess Oshun, who is depicted as yellow. Her flower is the sunflower. And she has a lot of aspects of eroticism and femininity, but she also has aspects where she can be temperamental. She is coming out of a place of grace. She was offered a deal with the justice. I have private documents I can share with you right now because I'm in. Um, the Justice Department and feds have evidently offered Marjorie Taylor Greene a complete out. Evidently, she did not commit enough crimes to where they want to charge her. All they want from her is for her to privately agree to an ongoing investigation regarding January 6th, but they will agree not to prosecute her because they don't have enough evidence. And it's not like the Justice Department or the feds are going to try and change her political views, but she has been offered a deal for full cooperation, and that's not public information. This is a Hail Mary to her. It's already been offered. And evidently, a deal is being hammered out between her attorneys and the feds for some kind of formal cooperation. And she's concerned that it could have a huge economic cost. You can see here they're hammering out some kind of a deal. You can see here there's a concern that she's going to pay an economic price. She's cooperating with feds as part of some private deal between her lawyers and the feds. She has to hand over all emails and correspondence that she had as part of the agreement. Everything, including laptops. In exchange, they'll bury what evidence they have. She's not the main person they're after. There's the Justice Department. That's the deal. It is with the Justice Department. And the final outcome for her, a new beginning in April. Look, she dodged prison. They can't guarantee she won't have lesser charges, state and local charges she could be facing. Also, her husband's accusing her of some stuff that looks criminal. Her husband is claiming that she physically assaulted him. For example, there's some evidence he's claiming of potential physical violence, whether true or not. You can also see the base of the matter for her is fear of jail. the judgment. There will be a judgment by April by the Justice Department regarding her case, but I think that she's going to get off by cooperating. She still may face lesser sentences. In plainer words, the fact that prison is the base of the matter for her to be jailed or cornered, the fact that she's cooperating, the fact that experts are hammering out a deal would tell me that she may still wind up doing some jail time. God, can you believe these cards? It blows my mind. I can't freaking believe. Well, yeah. Who's the most yang female in the card chart? It's going to be the Aries Leo female, right? It's a fire sign. It's war. We go to war. I'm an Aries with Leo rising. So, I mean, I'm the Queen of Wands because I'm an Aries and my rising sign's Leo. But I'm actually dangerous because I'm an Aries with Leo rising and a moon in Aquarius. So not only am I pissed off and angry Queen of Wands, but I also have a really high IQ. Well, let me take my Aquarian side and figure out how to get back on my no. No, I'm not vindictive though. I don't have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. I don't do sometimes not too. Then I feel guilty, right? I feel guilty if I'm too mean. I seek justice absolute. Well, what does that mean to you as an Aries? I win. That's what it means. It means I win, right? Geocosmic Valentine. Do I have any Scorpio at all in my chart? I don't think so. I just have Mars and I have a lot of Aquarius and Mars. I have fire and air. I have a little bit of water. I mean, I definitely have empathy. Yeah, no score. I don't. It's not my nature to be vindictive. It's my nature to be hurt and yell and scream and walk away. I'm still an Aries. I'll yell and tell you what I can be. My tongue, I can lash, but then I will cry and feel bad because I think I've got some Cancer floating around somewhere. I just want to be everybody's mother, right? That's the Cancer side of you. I just want to love everybody. All right, so let's see. Any other questions? Okay, so we have a question here about Russia and concerns that Russia is prepping to attack Poland. There's also concerns that they could, bomb like the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. They've been threatening all kinds of things. Let's take a look at Russia, the war, and their relationship with Europe right now. Everybody having fun? Did everybody get a chance to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff? And tell us what you're eating. Tell us if you voted early. No, we should not, Sharon Ann. No, we should not be violent. Absolutely. Who advocates violence? I don't. No, the only time to be violent is if your life or your family's life is threatened. I think the best way to negotiate is through gifts. That's what it talks about in the Torah. That's actually the old Bedouin way. When somebody wanted to fight with you or declare war, you know what the Bedouins would do? I'm going to come kill you. Really? Well, why don't you come over to our oasis? My wife's an excellent cook. We'll feed you. We'll tell everybody in the village not to hurt you because you're a guest here. And let's talk about it. We got some great dancers. We'll eat some baba ganoush. We'll eat some baklava. So the guy eats. He realizes that the other guy's pretty cool. They play some backgammon. Best way in the world to avoid war is to invite someone over for dinner. Yeah. That's right. All right, let's take a look. When you think about it, the Bedouins have never had major wars, except when their oasis would get attacked by marauders trying to hurt them or their families. But for the most part, they were actually the most tolerant. This is before Islam. They worshipped the water goddesses like Oshun in North Africa. The pregnant statues, the belly dancing of the rolling belly goes back to the goddess giving birth to mankind, Gaia. Did y'all know that? So it was actually a female-centered culture. Yeah, female power. All right, so basically, yeah, I've been studying the Bedouins for a long time. Pre-Islamic Bedouins, very interesting. No slavery because they were nomadic, so they weren't bound to the land. Everybody was an equal. They were just the water. They were basically their generation's water protector. They were the people that were put on earth, the original Bedouin, to protect the sweet waters. And the original oasis, all peoples were welcome, even the LGBTQ community, all genders. They put your camel to bed. You know, they took good care and they loved everybody. Just don't hurt anybody. We respect all. You can have fun, keep the waters clean, and keep the caravans moving. And of course, you had to pay. You had to pay to protect the water. Yeah, you know. But what we see with, unfortunately, war and agriculture, it all kind of ends, and then slavery takes hold, like in Libya. With agriculture, slavery increased because they needed more slaves, like what happened in Iraq. And so that was kind of historically the death of the oasis. And so now there's this idea spiritually that we are all called to create the oasis again, to create the Garden of Eden again. And that's why we don't have to worry about midterms, because spiritually, what Spirit is saying to us is it starts with you. You create the oasis in yourself. You create a beautiful space, and then you invite others to your home and you feed them, just like the traditional Bedouins, and you love everyone and you accept people as they are. And this is how we have peace. And you protect the waters and you protect your children. And also I learned that in original Bedouin culture, the chief's job was to fulfill the will of his people or her people. They also had female chiefs. And everyone got a vote, even the children. And anyone who has ears who understand, we want to hear your opinion. So if they had to make a tough decision, if the child understood the question, they wanted to hear, what do you think we should do about the water? What do you think? So when you think about what the Garden of Eden used to be, we have a lot of work to go back to our natural state, what we were 200,000 years ago when we worked together and accepted everyone. And our priority was keep the land clean, keep the waters clean, keep the water flowing, accept everyone. This is our natural order. The Bedouins were the people that were actually the most actualized. And then we have this horrific occupation that happens with the fall of agriculture. So that now, 200,000 years later, from those early oases, we're now called to create that again. So getting back to the original question about Russia, that ultimately is always playing itself out. Do we want a war or do we want to create an oasis? Do we want to create a kibbutz for everybody with big oranges, or do we want to start with the hegemony? So we have here Putin, and we have an addiction, or he can't let it go. So his relationship with the war of Ukraine is such that he can't let it go. He cannot let this go. He's the war king. He can't get out of it. So it's going to be hung up. It's going to be hung up because look, young knights ending it. I don't think poverty over Russia. Look at this. Poverty over Russia. Can you believe what anthropologists are discovering about the early Bedouin? How evolved they were? Look at this, Ace of Cups in the 3rd house. They want peace. They want an out. The people of Russia want an out. Look, they're facing poverty. Look, they got themselves in a situation they can't get in. And by the way, they are cornered. We're talking about thousands of Russians cornered or captured. No food. Of course they're going to surrender. There's a new beginning. This could happen very soon. Look at this guy. He cannot leave. That's why they got to get him out of there. See, this is also the symbol of Ukraine. Ukraine is also the Queen of Rods. So what does Ukraine want? Ukraine is the Queen of Rods. The Sunflower Nation, right? She seeks justice. I want my damn land, right? So one of the things you also learn from the Queen of Wands is that she's territorial, right? She wants my way, boom, boom, my land, boom, boom. So this is Ukraine. And then Russia's response, the truth. Archangel Michael comes, the truth. The hopes and the fears, the grief, the losses already. These cards are mind-blowing. And then the final outcome, it will end. The stopgap comes. Let's do a clarification. I want to understand that. Over Ukraine, the Queen of Rods, the star is over Ukraine. Many blessings to her in her future. She receives many anointings. Her opposition, the truth. The truth is that the financial investors in Russia have told them to shut this thing down because we have listened to your crap long enough. It's over. You cost us a crap load of money. Putin's private investors are out. Here's the investors. They're out. This is not making money for us. No, I'm not going to give you any more of my money. You just blew 90% of my investment in Russia. So that's what it looks like. Hopes and fears, heartbreak and losses for Putin. You know, he can't save face. Final outcome, yeah, peace. He lost. He already lost. Well, based on those cards, all of the people that were invested in him and Russia, all that foreign money and all that internal money, the oligarchs, etc., they're out. They're out. Can you believe that? Right, Karen. We live in a paradise planet, and you look at these early indigenous peoples, like the oasis protectors, like the early Yoruba of Nigeria, and they were closer to God and closer to the truth than I think where we are now. And so it's a simple thing. How do we get back to that? How do we get back to the oasis? How do we get back to midnight in the oasis, right? The story of Eden and the fall of Eden, is that really just the beautiful oasis of these hippie Bedouins hanging out and doing belly dancing and sharing baklava and everybody's welcome, and then it all ends, right? They get kicked out and they have to go do labor, right? They become enslaved. They're taken back to Iraq, to Babylon, and they're turned into slaves for the mass new agricultural economy. And so some anthropologists believe that it's really the death of the progressive liberal Bedouin water protectors that were pretty damn cool before the fall, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do a couple more questions. We started late. I'd like to keep going. Why are they talking about giving Putin a graceful way out? Because he wants a way out, and we want it to end. Look, they've already told us regarding Putin that they will never hand him over to the West, that they don't do that. Neither do the Israelis, by the way. They're not going to turn. Also, he's going to still have supporters even when he steps down. They will never give him to us. So from what they've said, stop dreaming, you'll never get him. They will do for him what they did for Yeltsin, what they did for Gorbachev. He can go stay in his little villa and be protected, but they're never gonna hand him over. It's just not what they do. Oh, Mila's real name is Michaela Antoinette Claudette, and she is named after Michael Wincott, the actor, hey! Who I became friends of. I got to meet him when I was working at Irwan Natural Foods Market, and he's a huge cat lover. And he had 3 cats that he rescued, and we got to talking about cats, and I was trying to capture her, and he was telling me how to capture her. He was like, "Well, you can get a trap, you know, you can get a thing and then put some tuna fish in." That's how he caught his cat. And it took me about 3 days to catch Mila. Um, what else did he told me to do? I think he said something about ignore her. So I laid on my stomach, I put the thing out, I put the tuna there, and I was laying on my stomach, and then she went in. And then, Michael Wincott said, "Yeah, then you just close it and say, 'Sucker.'" So she went in, she got the food. "Sucker." So I went back and said, "I got the cat and I named it after you." And then it turned out to be a girl. So instead of Michael, it became Michaela. So for short, we call her Mila. Isn't that a funny story? She was feral. She was feral and she was violent and she didn't want to be caught. She was pregnant too, I found out. But yeah, Michael helped me catch her. So she's named after him. Yes, he's a very nice guy, very sensitive. All right. Let's see. Next question. Anybody else have a question? I want to keep going. Yeah, can you believe she's not feral anymore? He just told me to ignore her and just like sit and do something else, and then they'll be curious and they'll come around, which is really hard for me because when I see a cat, I just want to, and that's just particularly a feral cat's not gonna, yeah. Do you guys want to check and see the midterms? Do you want to do some blitzes on midterms? What do you guys think? Yeah, well, Michael Wincott, he rescues black cats because they're at risk. All 3 of his cats were black. Yeah, I guess that it's really people are like afraid of black, which I think is really bizarre, but people have the strangest ideas. Okay, this is a good question, Mel. I do want to do this. Y'all know that Elon Musk bought Twitter and people are all freaked out. So let's take a look. Did you notice I wasn't coughing? I put the sheet like you guys said about her dander. And I took a quarter of an Allegra D. The 24-hour is way too strong, so I'm just taking a quarter. Works really well. Can you believe how well it worked? Yeah. All right, Elon Musk, Twitter. We'll just do 4 cards. Elon Musk. This is fun today. Wasn't it fun? Do we raise much money for charity? I hope so. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's really cool. Oh my God. I like that. Okay. All right. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Oh, so Elon Musk wants to turn Twitter more into an academic and less bots, and he's really strict about the bots. And instead, he wants to turn it into a place where academia and more science and innovation can be shared with the general public. And he wants to have it be a cool way to bring science and innovation to the general public, and that's the main thing he's going to be doing. And he'll be successful at bringing science and innovation and also changing people's minds about science and innovation. That's pretty cool. Truth seeker and victorious within 1 year. This is a clear thinking Aquarian. You can see also scholarship, academia, shining the light, temperance and balance. It's not bad. He's extremely angry actually at the bots and the manipulate. He actually doesn't like it at all, and he's pretty damn angry about it. And he wants all contracts out in the open. He got rid of a ton of people. As a result, if people who are wishy-washy with the fine, he doesn't like that for his customers. He thinks because he's a libertarian, everything should be above board, open and controlled. And that was the problem he had with Twitter. He doesn't like the riffraff, Two of Pentacles, leaving it. He felt like the heads of Twitter were manipulating the general public, and he didn't like that crap. He wants sanitation. He says, I want it sanitized. Sanitized. This could be a great opportunity, he says, for bringing innovation and education and new sciences to the general public. No, I'm not going to let the Republicans take hold. I'm not going to let any political party take hold. That's not why I did it. He also is saying that an old market is going to crash, but that's a good thing. He said that he wants to work with anyone who's excited about new innovation, particularly if it's going to help the planet. And this is an Oasis card, by the way. Back into the garden. He'll work with anybody. The old economy is finished. Elon Musk. But it's a good thing. We talked about it. It's not bad. It's not bad that the old economy. Actually, I kind of agree with what he's saying, and I have similar complaints about Twitter. So I actually agree with what he's trying to do. Let's turn it into a great vehicle for facts and information and education for young people. Why does it have to be a bunch of troll farms and crap where people don't even know their minds are being? He wants that out. And that's actually why he fired a bunch of people based on what he's saying. So I actually agreed with what he was talking about. It would be great if we could turn it into an intellectual platform for science and innovation. And that seems to be the direction he's taking Twitter. And he got rid of a lot of the bots. Sure, people have a right to their opinion, but he's also going to fact check them, and there's not going to be any more bot. Free speech is fine. What the problem that Elon Musk is having is with these creepy little bots and these fake accounts and people being manipulated. Well, they'll come back again, Joel, because part of his complaints are legitimate, and I think that it's not going to be quite as bad as people think. Let the people decide. That's what he's saying. If you don't have bots, if you're heavily applauding everything, then we don't have to be afraid of. It's not free speech he's afraid of. It's the bots, it's the manipulations. And so what he's saying is you nip it in the bud by giving someone something better, which is science and technology and innovation. And if you have that, you don't have to be afraid of the lone crazy voices. That's not the threat to our democracy. He was bitching here about the bots, the noise, right? The noise, the 7 of Cups and 5 of Wands together, noise, loud, fighting, confusion, gaslighting. So he's right. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but on that, he's right. No midterms? I'm surprised you guys aren't asking about the midterms. Well, I mean, any lunatic is even, when you're in prison, you still have free speech. You can sit around ranting and raving. You can even be a Nazi in prison. So what he's saying is if you want to rant and rave, fine, but you're not going to put bots up that are manipulating. And we will have fact check and we will have science. And so sanitation cures it. You don't have to be frightened of crazy people when people have the facts. That's what he's saying. When they have facts and innovation and information and science and reality, you don't have to be afraid of that. Because he's talking a lot here. You looked at his cards, the Sun, the Hermit, he's talking a lot about, also he presents as the Aquarian male, the truth, the sword of truth that cuts. So, yeah. Let's look at Beto. We've had some great cards on Beto. Other people say it's a long shot. Let's see. This is fun. I don't think it matters if Trump is back on. That's what Musk is saying. It wasn't Trump that was scary. It was all the bots. 90% of the comments on Trump's thing were bots. So if the bots are gone, it's just going to be a couple of wingnuts screaming and people like, yeah, whatever. The problem is the bots. It's the manipulating of people with bots. That's what he's saying. I want total sanitation. I want it all out in the open. And I think there's some truth to what he's saying. You know, you spend all day arguing with bots and you're getting nowhere because you're just arguing with computers. If Beto wins, it's the female vote. It's because of female voters and fear of reproductive rights being taken away. It was the female vote. A new beginning for him. The world. What takes him there? The women. Knight of Cups. So let's see the clarification. He's building anew. He very likely could win with the women's vote. They don't like this Roe v. Wade being taken out. Look at this. Look at the women. They were bound. They were bound. They were forced. They could give it to them. Women, the women's vote. They had no choice. Look at what they were gagged. They were bound. Who? The women. He comes as a knight on a white horse. They give him justice. He can still win. I really think the Republicans screwed up with that whole pro-choice thing. You know, that could drop them up to 12 points in some areas. I mean, it's just a death blow to them. Crazy. All right, Fetterman and Oz. We'll do a couple more. Let's see, Fetterman versus Oz. I think Fetterman's going to win, but let's see. Oz talks great, but his ideas are insane. I mean, just as a healthcare provider, I wish I had been at that debate and I would have just called him out as a fellow healthcare provider. How insane you sound to doctors. You're going to let random people decide my patient's medical care? Do you have any idea how nuts you sound to a doctor? That's insane. And this guy's supposed to be you're going to let your patients' lives, whether they live or die, etc., if you have to do a medical because somebody voted in some rink-a-dink town, that to you makes sense. You need help, boy, because you all be crazy. Can you imagine doctors thinking like that? Crazy. Oz is going to be outed. Something about it's just the great Oz. I think Fetterman could get it because these are Fetterman's cards. Two of Pentacles. He's back and forth, but it almost made people love him more because he was vulnerable. Look at that Ace of Cups over him. Look at Oz's cards. He's going to be betrayed by his own staff, people close to him. Also, there's something about temperance here. Hopes and fears, justice over the King of Swords, which is Fetterman's card. And then final outcome is Six of Cups. He's going to get it. There's a Nine of Wands here for connected with Oz. If Oz gets it, I just something weird there. It's almost like he's legally in trouble or something. That's very weird cards for him. Sorry, Jazz, we don't do personal readings. All right, I guess I'm going to call it quits. We've been here for about an hour, 15 minutes. Thank you, everybody who decided to hang with me. If you can like and subscribe, that would be excellent. Thank you, everyone who's become a member of the channel. Man, do I appreciate you folks. If you're trying to get in for a reading, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. Also, special gratitude to my Patreon supporters. I didn't forget you. I know y'all been waiting for me to come and say hi. I'll try and come say hi on Patreon today and give you a little private something. Also, a special shout out again to fairies and angels. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't make it on Saturday because my tummy bug. And of course, healers and empaths will be back on Tuesday teaching. Is there anything else I need to say? Yes, if you need a Wizio reading, Wizio, just a quick 5-minute pre-taped reading, you can go to Wizio. That information is also below this video. Thank you, all the moderators, etc. We'll see you back here soon. I'll try and come on for a live tomorrow for Halloween. And I think that's all I got for you. All right. Be well, everybody. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.